Now joining us in studio is Soweto Urban editor Mzwandile Kati, as well as Grace Bilo, a journalist at Soweto Urban newspaper, just to unpack the various speeches from today's official celebrations that took place in Paarl. To the both of you, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Perhaps to start with you, Grace, it is Women's Day after all. There's just, at least from me, reading or listening to the speeches, there seems to be great lamentation. Women seem to still be facing a lot of hardships. What is your take, being somebody from a newspaper that is really at the heart of South Africa here? We've got a lot of women that you write on. Is this an exaggeration, or really is the picture that it's not a time to celebrate?
Actually, I don't think it's an exaggeration. I actually think it's underrepresented. Women actually go through a lot more than we know of, especially in places like Soweto. And nothing is being done about it. And I think the biggest problem is people know about it, people in high places, and yet absolutely nothing is being done to protect these women, to change their situation. So there is absolutely nothing to celebrate. We should actually be fighting more, mourning more, lamenting all of these things. That's my take for now.
And Mzwandile, your take? I mean, I listened to Minister Bathabile Dlamini. They're going to talk about protection orders. I'm sure you've also dealt with a lot of stories where you've written about a young lady who passed on, but found that she actually had a protection order inside her house.
Yes. Obviously, a lot still needs to be done. Like the president was saying, I mean, hundreds years ago and in 1956, 62 years ago, women were fighting for almost the same thing. But now, this month in 2018, in August, women have marched for almost a different thing. Now women are getting killed, they are getting raped and all those things. So like Grace has said, more needs to be done, and authorities, I mean, not just authorities, the whole community, everyone needs to get involved in this, because there's a fight going on against women. Yeah.
And then with the total shutdown itself, there seemed to be a broader conversation where the women were saying they wanted to be part of the solution, or at least want to find the solution themselves on the day when they marched. And the president seemed to be in agreement, saying that the solution will come from you. But there was criticism of that speech, saying that you need the perpetrators to be part of the solution. You cannot exclude men from this conversation. And now today he's gone on to say, yes, they will be part of the dialogues. What's your take on that?
Yes, obviously. I mean, it makes sense for men to be drawn into these things, to these conversations, to be part of the solution, because I mean, it won't help much to leave them out, to leave the perpetrators out of the conversation, because they are the one who are more involved in this thing. So I think the president was on point by saying that, okay, men should be part of the conversation. As you know, we'll have that gender-based violence summit by the end of this month. So I think it's a good step. It's a good small step moving forward. But again, a lot more needs to be done.
I love how you say small. What do you make of that? It seems that we might have a conversation, but implementation.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle in terms of involving the perpetrators. Because, for example, with this event that Duduzi Manana was supposed to be a panelist at, I mean, where do we go? What's the stopping point between giving a perpetrator the spotlight and hearing their side of the story? It's a bit tricky for me, but I understand, in as much as we need to hear the victim side, we need to hear why the perpetrators are doing this and what we can do to stop it.
So would that not be the opportunity for him to speak again, or probably speak of his rehabilitative process that he's gone through?
It is, but at the same time, we need to not give perpetrators the spotlight. I mean, it's basically, to other perpetrators or somebody who's thinking that, hey, maybe I can do this and then one day I'll be invited to speak somewhere. They could see this as an opportunity for fame. So, I don't know.
I don't think we should be giving perpetrators a chance or a platform to justify themselves or to get famous through violating women. But I think it is a chance for men or for people of the opposite sex to say, okay, this is the role we can play in ending this thing. Because, I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it's men who are killing women. So we should be careful. We should be able to draw a line between those things. We are not giving them a chance to justify themselves and their actions, but we are giving them a chance to be part of the solution. Yes.
And then what about the men that consider themselves to be good men? They look after their children, they also respect women, look after their sisters. When we're having this conversation, calling men perpetrators, because a number of women do suffer at the hands of men, but then there'd be that pocket. You know, you have those pockets of good men. How do you think they feel today? Are they uncomfortable, or you think they should be part of the conversation and also be criticizing their fellow brothers?
Well, I mean, being uncomfortable is one thing, but acting against this thing is one thing. So it doesn't help for me to say I'm a good man. I don't rape, I don't abuse women, I take care of my kids and all those things. But if I don't act against it, if I say, okay, but not all of us, I think it doesn't help anything in solving the actual problem. So I think the best thing or the most important thing is for those good men to come up and take a lead in fighting this scourge.
Grace, do you believe that as women we've also played somewhat of a role in all of this? Because we are mothers, we bring up children. In most cases, sometimes fathers were not present. So what our young boys become is how we raised them, the conversations we had at the dinner table, how we treated the daughter compared to the son.
Definitely, I think we definitely have a role to play as women. I always say it's always our mothers. Like when we're walking in taxi ranks in our mini skirts or whatever, or when we leave the house underdressed, it's always our mothers who say, why are you dressed like that? Men are going to look at you this way. Why are you not telling your boy child not to look at women that way and not to objectify women? So I definitely think as mothers, as women, we should definitely start talking to our boy children more and getting them to respect women.
And I think that conversation is a bit destructive to the boy child, because you strip him of his power of choice. It's as if he has no agency, like it's uncontrollable. If she's wearing a short skirt, I cannot help myself. And if I overhear my mother reprimanding my sister that don't dress like that, men will not be able to control themselves. Then as he grows up, he knows that when I see this, I cannot control myself. I have no agency.
It's like that thing, the saying that girl children grow up faster than boy children. No, boy children are just babied way more than girl children are. We don't grow up faster. We are just told that, no, don't do this, do that. But the boy children are not. It's really just the case of our mothers treating us like women when we're children.
And are we having that conversation? Because today we spoke a lot about the upbringing of men, but because we're celebrating women and recognizing their strength, we're forgetting to critique that sometimes there can be a destructive nature about us. That when a woman is getting divorced or a woman that is married, amongst us we seem to give more credibility to my colleague who's married or my sister who's married, and I teach my daughter. So do you think that we still need to have that private conversation? Maybe men have no right to be part of it, but do you think there is a destructive element amongst women that also needs to be addressed on Women's Month?
I think it should be addressed every day and not just Women's Month, personally. I definitely think we as women should come together, especially us as young women with our mothers. We should come together and tell them, no, this is not how things should have been done, and I see that now. And us as young women who are growing up and who are going to be mothers and who are already mothers have an opportunity to fix this now. We can actually build a new generation of young boys who are going to be formidable men as they grow up. So,
Zandile, our representation in the economic front, I mean, many continue to speak about that we see a lot of abuse in households because women are not participants in the economy. They stay because they cannot look after themselves.
Well, that is very true, actually. I mean, we still have a lot of women who are forced or who find themselves having no choice but to be housewives and all those things. But I mean, if we can get to a point where women are allowed to take up leadership positions in the corporate space and corporate world, I mean, maybe surely we will get somewhere as a country in terms of our economy and all those things. But also, just to go back to that point Grace was making, I think fathers as well need to be involved in this conversation. I mean, in terms of talking to their young boys, I mean, from an early age, how to treat a woman, how to treat your sister, starting from the household. Treat your sister like this, don't do this, do this, don't do that. I mean, I think that would help because, I mean, there's a saying where they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, I think now the focus is on teaching old dogs new tricks, which is not working. I mean, it must work. I'm not saying we must leave it like that, but we must also go back to the young boys at home as fathers as well, not just as mothers. It's not only the duty of the mother, but fathers as well, to say, do this, don't do this, do this. Yeah.
Now, Grace, as we embark on this journey to assist men and learn these habits, or to teach young men these new habits, we live in this society. It's fast-paced, there's social media. As you teach your son this, he's going to social media, learning of other things, seeing naked women, and our young girls also behaving in strange ways on social media. So do you think it becomes even more difficult that as we embark on this journey to assist men in unlearning these habits, you've got this other world that they sometimes can immerse themselves in, which is social media?
Definitely. But at the same time, social media also has the power of education. Personally, in my journey as a feminist, it started on social media. Twitter has been a pivotal point for me. So I have learned so much from Twitter. I have unlearned so many habits as well. So in as much as there are bad things, there are also good things. So I feel like we shouldn't be all doom and gloom.